Hi, I'm Kerry Kirkham, and you're sipping with the Wine Fox. With me today is a 2018 Bravium Brut Nature. It is a Blanc de Noirs made of 100% Pinot Noir from Wiley Vineyard in Anderson Valley. It was planted in the deep end part, the westernmost portion of Anderson Valley, and it was planted in 1972, which is the year I was born. So the vines that grew this beautiful wine are my age, which is between 48 and 49 years old. So this is very appropriate for me today. It's my wedding anniversary, and it is my favorite day of the year next to Thanksgiving. And on my wedding anniversary and Thanksgiving, those are the 2 days I really drink something special. And so this is a very special bottle for me. Also, I'm drinking it out of a very special glass, which my husband gave me on our wedding day with a bottle of champagne as a gift, because he knows sparkling wine is my favorite category. So I'm going to open this bottle now. One thing I really like about it is there's no foil, so it reduces waste. Yes, it has a cage and a button and a cork, which I think is appropriate for a wine of this caliber. A bottle cap wouldn't work. So you still have that romanticism of opening a bottle of wine, and the waste is not that much. But yeah, I like not seeing the foil. It also gives the bottle a cleaner look. Also, when you're opening the bottle, you twist the bottle, not the cork. And it should sound like a sigh, which I always try to get it right, but this cork wants to launch out, so we'll see what happens. Will it be a sigh? Oh, a sigh. Yeah. Every time I would open up a sparkling wine and it would pop, I would get criticized by my father-in-law, who would say, "Oh, what is it, chilly night at the convent?" Because the joke is it should sound like a nun farting in church. It should be very silent. So let's give this a spin. I know that sounds crass, but I don't have any pretensions. I am who I am. Okay, look at that. Oh, a little bit of color. Little bit of color from Pinot. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, the aromas. It has some autolytic aromas, which I find very surprising. Look at that color. It's almost like a rosé. It's like a golden, subtle, not quite a rosé, but wow, look at that. It is absolutely beautiful. Just looking at it, I'm thinking that this would pair really well with food. Blanc de Noirs is one of my favorite food pairing sparkling wines. So again, it's a single vineyard, and it was made in it was made in a really interesting way. So the winemaker's name is Derek Rolfe. You're going to hear me talk about him and his wines a lot because I really like his winemaking style. I come from a winemaking background, and every time I try one of his wines, I could tell this wine was made right, and it was made by someone who cares about featuring a place and a varietal rather than imposing their own will and putting their fingerprints all over it. The wine speaks for itself and the place. I love Derek's winemaking style and his approach, and he's innovative. So what he did was he aged the base wine on its lees for 10 months in neutral oak barrels, which he felt that it would fast forward the aging process a little bit by aging it on its lees for 10 months. And that's where that nice autolytic leesy nose comes from. Wow. So I'm trying to do the math. So harvest was September of 2018. So if it was in barrel, that means by summer of 2019 it came out of barrel and went into bottle. So I'm guessing secondary fermentation tirage was a year and a few months maybe. But on the nose, I do get, immediately I'm thinking of pastry, like a buttery pastry. A little bit of like Rainier cherry. Not quite a big red cherry, but there's something stone fruit like, but like Rainier cherry. And wet stones. But I love the nose. I love that leesy nose. because it makes me think of aged champagne. I really, really like that quality in a sparkling wine. So on the palate. Oh, wow. Let me back up a little bit. Brut Nature means there's no secondary, no finishing dosage. So the residual sugar is very low in this. I think there's a note somewhere about it. 3 grams per liter of residual sugar. So that is really dry for a sparkling wine. But anyway, I need to think about this one because there is a lot going on. Right now I'm in my kitchen and my husband's cooking, so if you hear noise in the background, he's cooking. So, okay, on the palate. It has a really creamy, dense palate that, what is going on? It just washes over the palate beautifully, frothy. I get, it tastes like a cherry-filled French pastry. Not sweet, but it has some beautiful fruitiness and a nice, long, lingering finish. Almost a peach, like a white peach or white nectarine finish. It's not like a big, major, red, juicy fruit. It's very subtle fruit. Very fresh fruit. God, that is beautifully complex, all unfiltered. So I think that's where that complexity comes from. The wine wasn't heavily processed. Wow. It's $50 a bottle. You can get it on the Bravium.com website. Highly recommended. Put down the Veuve, put down the Moet, give this a try. So my favorite domestic sparkling wines would include like J. Schramm from Schramsberg or L'Hermitage by Roederer. This is definitely a contender in that echelon of domestic sparkling wine. Yeah, I'm getting these wet stones, cherries, pastry, white peach. A little bit of an oxidative note of like a tiny hint of marzipan. It's very faint. It's not a heavily oxidized wine, but a little bit. Wow, and the texture is what gets me, that beautiful frothy texture in the mouth. Wow. I think this is going to be my New Year's wine too. Normally I'll buy a really nice bottle of bubbly for New Year's. I think this is going to be it. It's made really, really beautifully. Highly recommended. I'm a big fan of Bravium and Derek Rolf's. I got this bottle as a sample, but I review things that I find are interesting and really worth talking about from a criterion of enthusiasm. I'm not trying to sell anything. I don't owe anybody anything. I don't get paid for this. I do this from a place of joy, that I want to share these stories and these wines with you. So I hope you do go out and give this a try. Again, that's Bravium 2018 Blanc de Noirs. It is beautiful. It's from Wiley Vineyard, single vineyard. Absolutely gorgeous. And to that, I say cheers to another trip around the sun with my husband who's in the kitchen. I love you. And carpe uvum.